Hey, a glass for Mr. Barkley.
What are you doing all dressed up like a San Francisco banker? Hey, I bet today's a big day, huh?
It's the day, all right. You know, Nancy Stays doesn't come into Stockton, so I have to pick her up in Stego at 3 o'clock.
You're not nervous, are you?
Nervous? What have I got to be nervous about?
Not a thing?
Darn right. You know, Heath, I must have written Nancy Briggs 100 letters over the past 2 years, and it's just like courting her in person.
You bet.
She's a genteel Eastern woman, but that don't make no difference. She and me are gonna get along just fine.
You don't need any more of that. You're gonna meet that 3 o'clock stage. What do you say I do the honors?
Well, that's mighty kind of you, Heath.
Hey, easy, Jim.
Ooh. You think Nancy will like these?
Well, we'll soon find out. Hey, easy, Jim.
I'm just fine,
You sure you can drive that buggy all right?
Yes, I can drive that buggy, don't worry. Ah, Jim!
Hey, you hurt, Jim?
It's my back again.
Well, don't you move. I better get the doc.
No. Nancy, she's expecting me.
Well, you can't drive that buggy like that.
She's waiting for me. Who's going to pick her up, Heath?
Inside, mister. What happened?
The outlaws were held up.
It was awful, just awful. They shot the driver and that poor girl.
She caught a stray bullet. Miss Briggs here and I were lucky to escape with our lives.
How long ago did they leave?
Oh, about a half an hour. We thought it'd be safer to stay here by the stage.
Oh, you were right. We'll see the sheriff when we get into Stockton.
Do you think we could put the suitcases in your surrey there?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, I'm supposed to meet someone at Peshtigo.
Well, I'm Heath Barkley, Miss Briggs, Jim North's friend.
Oh, hello.
I'm afraid I have some disappointing news.
I hope he didn't change his mind.
No, that's just a little trouble with his back. Nothing serious.
Oh, I'm glad. It's nothing to worry about.
In fact, Jim sent these to you.
Oh, they're lovely.
The sooner we get started, the sooner you can tell Jim in person.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barkley. I'll be staying in town for a while. I'd like to buy you a drink sometime if I may.
It'll be my pleasure.
Goodbye, Miss Briggs.
Oh, goodbye, Mr. Clayton. And I want to thank you for all the kindness you've shown.
Don't mention it. Oh, and I'd like to wish you the greatest happiness in your forthcoming marriage.
Thank you. I must confess, Mr. Barkley, I'm a little bit nervous.
Well, there's nothing to be nervous about.
Well, I keep thinking that Jim won't like me.
Oh, Jim will like you. Miss Briggs, Have you ever been in Denver?
Denver, no.
Carson City?
No, Mr. Barkley, why?
Oh, you just look familiar to me.
Well, I don't see how that could be. I've never been west of St. Louis. I mean, school teachers, see, they can't afford to travel very much. Miss Barkley, you're a good friend of Jim's, aren't you?
Well, I've known him a long time.
Well, tell me about him.
Well, I wouldn't know where to begin.
What's his favorite kind of food?
Well, I hope you're good with chili peppers.
Chili peppers.
He acquired quite a taste for them in Mexico last year.
Oh.
Oh, didn't he write you about that?
Oh, no, he didn't.
Oh, I guess he wouldn't.
Why? What happened?
Well, there was a flood in some small Mexican border town. He and Maria went down to see what he could do. Stayed about 3 months.
Oh, 3 months. And he's quite a man, and his wife must have been quite a woman to stay down there with him.
Maria's his housekeeper. His wife, Rachel, died 8 years ago.
Oh, of course, his housekeeper. How could I forget? He's mentioned her so often in his letters. How much further do we have to go?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, I'm much more tired than I thought. Mind if I rest a bit?
It's going to be fine, yes. Here they come. Maria, here, hide this. Quick. No, Maria, how do I look?
Oh, you look handsome, Senor Jim.
Good, come, Maria. Maria, I will stand here. You open the door.
Yes.
Well, there she is, Jim, safe and sound.
Please, I take.
I'm so glad you're here. Did you have a nice trip?
Oh, yes, it was fun.
Wonderful. I'm glad you had a nice trip.
I better be going, Jim.
Oh, no, Heath. No, stay. Have some coffee or something. Come in, come in. You must be tired, Nancy. The coffee will pick you up. And we'll have something to eat. Come on, sit down. Right here. Sit down. Nancy, you and me, we got a lot to talk about.
I suppose we do.
Now you can understand why I didn't ask for your picture. It means I'd have to send you one of mine. Well, I didn't want you to see what I looked like, my age and all.
Jim, you don't have to.
Well, now you've seen me. You can turn around and walk out right now, Nancy. I wouldn't blame you one bit, not one bit. Just ask Heath and he'll take you back to town.
I want to stay.
You sure, Nancy?
I'm sure.
I promise you, you're going to be happy here. I'm going to make you happy. I'll love you. Everybody will.
Jim, I'm happy already, and I'll make you a good wife. The best I know how. Excuse me, dinner will be ready in a few minutes.
Now, Nancy, I don't want you spending all that time in the kitchen from now on. Wait till you see the dinner she's prepared for us. She thought of everything. As a matter of fact, she put in just the right amount of chili pepper.
With a little help from Maria.
Jim is fortunate to have found you, Nancy. And we're all very glad he did.
Thank you, Mrs. Barkley.
Tell me, what can I do to help you with your wedding?
As a matter of fact, Victoria, I was going to talk to you about that. Nancy would like to go into town and buy a few things.
Well, I'd love to take her. I know just the seamstress to make your wedding dress. Heath can drive us in, and I'm sure there'll be enough time for me to show you our school.
Your school?
I hope you like it. We can use a good elementary grade teacher. The children are lovely, and with your experience, there'll be no problem at all.
Oh, Mrs. Barkley, I don't intend to teach school.
Nancy, in your letters, I thought you said you'd like to maybe teach school.
Oh, well, Jim, I've changed my mind. I don't want to teach school. Oh, I mean, you understand, don't you? I have a more important job here, learning to be a rancher's wife. I want to devote all my time to that.
Of course, Nancy, I understand. I'm sure you do too, Victoria.
Of course. We'll find somebody else.
Dinner is served.
Jim, would you mind too much if I escorted the next Mrs. North to dinner?
Not at all. Victoria?